You twiddling your wiener.
Why would they be twiddling their wieners? Why? Chin chin.
Chin chin.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hello and welcome to Tales from Beyond the Sofa.
Woo!
She still does it.
I like doing it. It's my bit. It's my contribution to the podcast.
If you're watching the video for this, then you are a patron of ours, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
What do you think of the t-shirt?
I got one too.
Your camera's over there.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm looking over there.
Yeah. My, hang on. There we go. My clunky.
My one's quite apt because it's like the evolution of Darth Vader.
Yeah, well, the evolution of wars
Yeah.
turning into Darth Vader. I'm not quite... do you know, I've never actually, like, got that t-shirt. You know?
Well, it makes sense now.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I've never got it. Are we saying that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, they essentially had the same kind of evolution as ours, and even had to the point where we had, like, gunpowder, artillery, and things like that?
Well, they had to start somewhere.
All right, let's not dwell on the t-shirt too long, because non-patrons can't see it. So, so it's not actually the New Year's for us right now. It's the 27th.
Star Wars weekend.
Well, it's
Star Wars Christmas.
It's been a Star Warsy Christmas. I was telling the people in the office that you know, this time of the year everyone's looking forward to Christmas.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm always looking forward to Star Wars, because since 2015, December has basically become Star Wars month.
Yeah, but the thing is, originally this movie was supposed to be released in May this year, 2019.
Right.
But because of all the drama that happened behind the scenes and the change of director,
And not just that, I imagine a lot of it was that in May, that's when we had Avengers Endgame come out.
Yeah, there's that too.
I mean, Disney owns both of them. So Disney probably was like, look, we don't want to be competing against ourselves.
Yeah, and they want to make maximum profit.
Exactly.
So
they want each of their movies to make at least $1 billion.
I mean, I'm not sure how to deal with the reviews in this, but opening weekend, they've made at least $200 million already.
Yeah.
So, and there's still, I mean, it's going to be in theatres for a while yet. And,
Let's pull up some stats,
yeah,
shall we?
Put up some stats.
All right. Oh, Netflix is still open. At
At
least it wasn't porn.
So come on, where are these stats, Beto?
No.
The stats.
All right, here we go.
There we go.
Plot, cast, production, development. As of Boxing Day, the day we went to see it,
Yeah, go on.
it has grossed $289.7 million in the United States and Canada, and $282.3 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $572 million.
Nobody needs that kind of money. That much money.
They can pay back everyone who, you know, they've covered the salaries of everyone who worked on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to see the inflation of John Boyega and Daisy Ridley's salaries from The Force Awakens to The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Daisy Ridley actually makes...
She's very compelling.
Yeah, she is really compelling in The Force Awakens.
Okay,
Not
so
Force Awakens.
Just Star Wars in general.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not gonna do spoilers right now, so because this is our YouTube video.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget, like and subscribe, and algorithms and blah, 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 and just make a comment. Yeah, tell us how
how wrong we are in everything we say.
Or, you know, how we're plebs, or
we
shills, or fanboy and girl, or whatever, you know, whatever we say, you know, tell us how wrong we are. But, because, I mean, you know, let's face it, Star Wars is universally loved. No one has a different opinion on it at all. You know, we're all able to enjoy it in our, you know, quietly, and, you know, we don't have to justify our opinions on anything anymore.
No. All right, let me ask you a question. Yeah. When you walked out of that movie, did you like it or did you hate it?
I will say there wasn't a moment in that through watching the whole film where I didn't feel like I was enjoying myself.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like there were there are issues with the movie. No movie is perfect, but this one was less perfect than it could have been.
Yeah.
And but there was nothing in it that made me groan or roll my eyes or anything like that. I have my main problems with this movie is more down to just J.J. Abrams as a writer. They're problems I have with with pretty much any movie J.J. Abrams writes. Even though he co-wrote this one.
Yeah. I mean, the original writers that were supposed to... that left are still credited with writing parts of the movie. So, you know, what it seems like he's done is taken what he wanted from the original script and kind of put in what he wanted.
Yeah, and as a result, it felt very much like he was running off a checklist.
Yeah.
The character A, B, and C need to be at location 1. Character D needs to be at location 2. Then from there they need to go here. From there they need to go there. And he just kind of went through a checklist of scenes and actions without really taking into consideration the kind of emotional or the emotional impact that it would have on characters. There are points in the film where characters, they're given particular information, or they come to a particular realization or have a revelation, and then 2 scenes later it's just they carry on as though that never happened. They don't really carry the information that's provided, or the emotional impact. The character growth within for whomever that's had that revelation. They don't really grow with the thought that they have. They just carry on with what they were doing in the first place. Exactly. I mean, like Finn, for example, in The Last Jedi. Right? He went on a very definite character arc. He starts at the beginning of The Last Jedi not really caring about the rebellion. More, his only concern was Rey. That was his concern. That's how he meets Rose, because he's trying to escape to warn Rey. And then by the end of the film, he's willing to sacrifice himself for the rebellion. That's an arc. That's character growth. Right?
I completely agree with you there.
And nobody goes on that particular journey.
No.
Rey goes on a journey of sorts, but again, it's more that the script needed her to go on that journey rather than she went on that journey, and the story developed around that journey. It was just like she needs to get from here to here to here to here.
The same could be said for Kylo as well.
In what way?
Because
I mean, but in what way were you thinking?
Because he the same kind of process evolves with him. He has to go from A to B to C to get to
there's a scene in particular which we will go into in spoilers that it very much exemplifies that. There's this moment where he's one thing and then suddenly or shall I say there's a moment where it's almost like he's this particular emotion and then something happens and now he's this particular emotion, and it just all felt very kind of convenient. It's like we need this.
We need him to change.
We need him to go from this to this. How do we do that? Just insert this.
Do you feel like it was a bit cheated? Do you feel a bit cheated in that regard?
After The Last Jedi, yes. Because I mean, all right, I'm about to get a ton of internet hate right now.
Go on.
But I love The Last Jedi.
I think The Last Jedi is great.
It's in my top 3 Star Wars movies. But then again, my top 3 even before The Last Jedi, my top 3 Star Wars movies brought me a lot of hate anyway because Attack of the Clones is in my top 3. And that's kind of seen as the most boring or whatever. But
you like that movie for the espionage and
the detective story. Story. I love the detective story. I think I think if you focus more on Attack of the Clones, if you focus more on Obi-Wan's adventure, shave about 20% off of the Anakin Padme romance, and give it to Obi-Wan's adventure, that would have been it would have been a much better movie. But I love that movie. It's in my top 3. And The Last Jedi is now in my top 3. But I think the Rise of Skywalker has a lot of cool moments and cool stuff. But it's not it doesn't kind of gel together. No. It's like they just. It's like they storyboarded it before they wrote it.
But in terms of the whole story, for me, when I left the cinema, I kept telling you it made sense. In terms of Lucas's poetry and what he was trying to say and where it started and how it ends mirror each other.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with that. But like I said, it just felt like...
It felt flat.
It felt flat because it felt like it was shot according to a checklist. It was written according to a checklist.
And don't forget all the pandering to the fans. Because
there's a lot of stuff in there.
I mean, because of all the backlash from the previous movies, it's like, okay, fans, we hear you, we're going to do this now.
And it felt, and it was very... It wasn't subtle.
No, not at all.
It wasn't... We will go into that later. Yes. But the first time we see Rey, it feels like they're very much addressing the whole Mary Sue thing.
Yeah.
And there was key moments throughout the film where it feels like they're very much addressing all the complaints the fans had about the last film.
Yeah.
And I felt like in a time where moviegoers were allowed to think for themselves and there wasn't this kind of this group think when it came to how we look at movies. That wouldn't have happened. But now we've got we literally had a 2-year campaign of people trying to raise money to remake The Last Jedi. Like Disney was... I mean, you morons. Like Disney's ever going to go like, oh yeah, sure, here's all our intellectual property. Here's all our actors. We'll clear their schedule for you. Never mind the fact that we're shooting the follow-up to that movie, but here you go. Yeah. Go remake the movie we just spent 2 years making. You know? It's ridiculous, and this whole the moments where they are cowing to them just felt very. It was very loud. It was like it was like a Thomas Magnum shirt. I mean, it was typical Star Wars in terms of the beauty and the score. I mean, it was John Williams' score. Yeah,
and it was just it.
There were key. Musical cues in that in it that I was just like, this is gorgeous. There are a few plays on the Rey theme and the Kylo theme that are just like, wow, this is a really interesting take on this piece of music.
Yeah, completely.
But it was, but as far as like a Star Wars movie goes, it was very Star Wars by the numbers.
Yes.
But even the worst Star Wars movies.
Yep.
There's a lot to enjoy about them.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching Solo the other day. And there's a lot to be enjoyed in that. In any Star Wars. I mean, we're playing Fallen Order at the moment.
Yeah, we are.
And again, it's frustrating as hell. But there is so much to just love and enjoy and immerse yourself into. And that's Star Wars for me.
But that is what Star Wars is. It's not about just one particular family. It's about the world.
Yeah,
it's about the galaxy. It's Star Wars.
Yeah, it's not Star Wars, not Skywalkers. Look, as I said, there's nothing in that movie that made me... There was a moment... But then what happened immediately afterwards made me go, oh, okay. But there was nothing in that movie that made me groan or roll my eyes.
No,
I mean, I got more of that from watching episode 1 the first time around.
Really?
I was 16 years old, and I'm like, really? I spent more of watching episodes, and maybe it was because I was like this too cool.
Too cool for school, 16-year-old.
Cooler than I thought I did. I thought I was 16-year-old, cynical, want to be cynical and jaded, but too young to be. Maybe I was just that. It was that kind of thing.
And jaded now.
But there was even episode 1. The worst of the Star Wars saga, the Skywalker saga. There is a lot to enjoy about that movie, and 20 years later, I watch it and I'm like, actually, there's more to enjoy about this film than there is to dislike. And I guarantee you, in about 5-10 years from now, there are going to be all these retrospective reviews of the Rise of Skywalker and the Last Jedi, and people are going to be going, hey, maybe it wasn't as terrible as we thought it was.
Look, Rise of Skywalker definitely isn't as bad as everybody has made it out to be. It is not.
The thing is, no one's really making it out to be terrible. People are just making it out to be blah, a meh, just a meh movie. Yeah. It's not bad enough to hate, and it's not good enough to love.
Well, when you're watching it, it's a roller coaster. I have to admit, the pace.
I will say. That was my biggest issue with it. Again, that's a J.J. Abrams thing where it just felt like it was just at a breakneck pace.
So
it just never slowed down to breathe.
No.
And weirdly, like with The Last Jedi is a chase movie. You know, you've got the First Order chasing the rebels across space. And it's in a very short period of time. But that movie is given far more time to just breathe.
Yeah.
And just kind of gather its,
with the Last
gather
Jedi.
itself then. But this movie just never... And because of that, it suffers because it never kind of figures out what it's actually about.
Yeah, because I mean, it is. I forgot what the word is. MacGuffin. It's a chase. It basically.
There's MacGuffin. There are MacGuffins to reach MacGuffins. There are too many MacGuffins in this film as well.
There's a particular phrase you use for that. I can't remember what it is now, but. Yeah, it is what it's like. We've got A, now we need to go to B. Now we need to get to B to get to A to get to C to get to D.
Yeah,
it's like that.
Yeah, nothing evolves. Organically.
No.
They're
kind of forced in that situation.
As well, there's like just characters introduced.
Yeah.
Introduced just literally just to tell them where the next thing to go is, and then we don't see them again until like the final battle.
Yeah.
And it is just one fetch quest after another.
Mm-hmm. That's it, fetch quest.
Yeah.
That's the word.
You were looking for that term, fetch quest. Yeah.
I mean, And the thing is, what I would have loved is to see more of the grime in this movie. There was a lot of underground scene, and I really kind of enjoyed that. I just wish they had included that more. When there were, the cities and the towns that
but they probably didn't do all of that because we've got the Mandalorian going at the moment.
Yeah,
we haven't seen any of that, and that looks very grimy. And they probably didn't want to have too much of that going on at once.
I get that.
And not only that, we just came off of Solo, and we've had Rogue One. So and the Star Wars Skywalker story has never been about that.
No, it hasn't.
Because you got to remember, it's this legacy story. It's a dynasty, and so it's about that. It's about the battle for the galaxy. Not the not that sort of ground
level kind of intricacy.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up for the spoiler.
So the final thing I'm going to say is the one thing they did right was Leia's send off.
Yes.
And
we didn't even mention. Oh no, we'll talk about that in spoilers. But the Leia stuff was. I mean, you and I were both in tears when she first came on set, and
I'm sitting in the cinema. I literally grabbed Tom's hand and I was rubbing his hand like I've got to squeeze your hand. Carrie. Oh, we love you, Carrie.
Yeah, but I think despite the structural issues and a lack of certain characters, I think it's a damn good time at the cinema. The question is, did I enjoy it? Did I have fun watching it? Yes, I had fun watching it.
I agree.
My only gripes came afterwards.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a good movie experience. When your gripes only come after, when you've had time to think about it, that's a good movie-going experience, because you enjoyed it while you were watching it, and it gave you something to think about afterwards. If there was no point during the watching that I didn't enjoy what I was watching. Yeah. There we go.
There it is.
Yeah.
There is. So we liked it. I enjoyed it. You enjoyed it. And go out and see it and just watch it. Don't go in there thinking...
I mean, my biggest problem with it while watching it is that I was watching it with too much of what the internet's been saying in my head.
Yeah, I stayed away from the internet completely.
I mean, just headlines. Just seeing headlines. And I'm just... This stuff was in my head.
But again, that's another problem when it comes to Star Wars and fans and movies in general.
You can't just watch it anymore. No. You've got to be part of the discourse.
Yeah, and
hence why we do these podcasts. But yeah, let's wrap this up.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, it's a great movie.
It's a good movie.
Despite its flaws.
Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
It's not perfect, no movie is.
No.
Right, so spoilers.
Spoiler talk.
Let's get into this,
Go on,
right?
then.
There's a lot of stuff.
I know you've got a lot of stuff to get off your chest. Go on.
I don't know, it just occurs to me that I have kind of musings more than thoughts, and it suddenly makes me realise that says a lot about the film.
Go on, explain.
Well, if a film's really good, you have a lot of thoughts on it.
Yeah.
If a film's really bad, you have a lot of thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But this one's neither, so I have more kind of like musings on it. You know? It's... I don't know. I think it's a good Sunday afternoon movie.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
And sitting at home with the kids.
There were no... I can't remember who said it, but there were no sort of like Star Wars moments in it. Those kind of moments where, you know, this is Star Wars. Yeah. There was nothing like that.
Even in the lightsaber fights and things like that, there was nothing there that was kind of impacting in any kind of way.
There were certain things in it.
All right, the only moment I can say that was when we saw the ships.
Yeah.
But that's it. But
okay.
But again, that's just
when we saw the final order armada.
Yes.
That was pretty badass. That was pretty like. Okay, I take it back. You reminded me of that. Suddenly I'm getting a flood. Now, okay, maybe I'll edit that bit out earlier. But there were
See, this is why we do these things. It makes you. We think too.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, all right. Because what I mean by Star Wars moments is there are things in all the Star Wars movies that not only are amazing, not only are just imaginative, but are impossible.
Yes.
You know, no matter how far our technology gets, we will never be able to build a Death Star.
No. As hard as we may try.
Yeah, exactly. But we are physically incapable of building something like a Death Star.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
That's Star Wars.
Yes.
Those things that they are amazing, and you can see how they work, and you know, it feels real.
Yeah.
And it feels like, that's a realistic depiction of a mega weapon. But it's impossible.
Yeah. I mean, the only impossible moment that I can really think of is when Lando is told... Lando.
It's not Walter.
No, it's not. Lando. Shut up.
Sorry, I just saw it in my head. Walter Lando Calrissian.
I blame you for this. Choking on my own laugh here.
Walter Lando Calrissian.
Shut up. I think I broke him.
I can see the merchandise now.
Yeah. All right. So Lando's moment, like the most impossible thing is to call everybody to this fight.
I don't know.
And guide him, because don't forget where they are at.
But just remember, this is like after The Last Jedi, and the story of Luke Skywalker has been spreading throughout the galaxy, and I just took that for granted, I guess.
Fair
I just
enough.
was like, you know, that's Star Wars, you know?
Yeah, but
I mean,
that's it. But you're making that point where you're saying that you don't know what was
I think I
Star
saw
Wars. That was...
Yeah, I mean, seeing that many ships, that's incredible.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that kind of rebukes your
Okay,
point
all right,
a
fair
little.
enough. Yeah, but I already rebuked my own point.
Yeah, you did.
You know? When you reminded me of, like... When I suddenly remembered that moment with the Final Orders Armada, I'm like, oh yeah, that's fucking impossible.
Okay, but you know, don't forget, this is all Palpatine doing it all in secret. And how did he get so many people and so and kind of reach the far ends of the galaxy to kind of.
The thing is, if you remember Palpatine, how Palpatine operated in the original trilogy.
Yes, I do.
Right?
Very well.
He instigated a war.
Yeah.
In which he was controlling both sides.
Yeah.
You know? He was in the Republic as a senator, and he was also. He was also the patron of the Separatists.
Yes.
So, it was a situation of like, no matter which side lost, he wins. That was, so when I saw this armada of these huge, these massive Star Destroyers, I kind of didn't question it.
Yeah.
Because that's Palpatine.
Bear in mind, this dude is supposed to be dead and now he's alive, so anything is possible, I guess. It is Star Wars.
I heard a theory, and I'm inclined to believe it.
Go on.
That who we see in the Rise of Skywalker, that's Palpatine, right? Who we've seen in the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy is just one of his vessels. Like like Palpatine that we see in that movie, that's where he's been. That's where he's always been.
That's and he's controlling everything.
And the one we saw in before was just one of his proxies, and he was just So
does that make up the proxy her granddad, or is he the granddad?
That's it, though. You see, when you kind of start entering that realm, and that's the other thing as well. Again, I didn't question the fact that he had offspring.
No. I mean, no, why would you?
Because the thing is, right, as a Sith Lord, it kind of makes sense. It makes no sense that he'd have offspring. But as a senator...
Yeah.
And we never see Palpatine at home.
No.
We never see the life Palpatine lived before Episode 1. Or what he lived in between each of the episodes. We just saw Palpatine, the senator, or and so I took it for granted. I just, whatever.
Yeah.
People, even if it was an illegitimate son.
You got to remember as well, in the Jedi law, they're not supposed to have relationships. They're not supposed.
But he's Sith. Yeah, but Sith are all about passion and
exactly.
And emotion and things like that. So he'd have lovers.
So, I agree. I mean, you don't know what he looked like when he was younger. We just know him as he is.
I can't remember if they said or not whether or not his son and his son's wife.
Yeah.
They never mentioned whether or not he's Sith, because for all we know, he had. Yeah, that's the neighbour peeing. If anyone can hear that. But we don't. They never say whether or not this is his illegitimate child.
No.
Because Palps is a dude. He's a guy at the end. He's a man. He's a human being. There are certain itches that even the Force can't scratch. So we don't know. It could be an illegitimate son.
No,
a bloodline's a bloodline apparently in the Star Wars universe because. That's my big issue.
Let me ask you this question. So, when we went into the movie, we loved the fact that Rey came from nowhere. That she was somebody that had no bloodline, and that a Jedi could be from anybody, from any race, from anywhere, any background, gender, whatever. Right. And then all of a sudden it backflips, and then
this is what I was saying earlier about how it was. It's pandering to the audience, this section of the audience. And that is my one big issue with the film.
Yeah.
That was the thing I loved about The Last Jedi. We even showed it, they even sort of underscore it with the little boy at the end.
Yeah.
He's
from
force
nowhere.
sensitive.
He's force sensitive, yeah.
Why does it have to be about bloodlines? Why does it have to be only certain families can ascend to this kind of greatness? I mean,
I know.
That's it as well. Because we introduced Luke in Episode 4.
Yeah.
He's just a kid from some backwater planet, you know, on a moisture farm. He's a no one, right? And that's something that's, you know, as you know, from an audience perspective, it kind of gives it that everyman thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But oh wait, hang on, his dad's like Darth Vader. This not only is his father like this conqueror of the galaxy, but he's, you know, he's destined, blah blah blah. And then, you know,
I agree. I think they kind of ruined her story for me in that regard. I wish she wasn't.
I mean, you said it perfectly when we spoke about The Last Jedi, in that she raised herself.
Yeah, she did.
That's why that cave shows her herself.
As her own parent. Yeah, completely. So,
and I like that.
I like that.
And then they just took that away, and it's like, no, you're a Palpatoots as well.
I mean, that whole thing, you know, he has all the Sith in him and she has all the Jedi in him, so she could
I like that.
him.
I like that, but in a really kind of cheesy Saturday morning
so
kind of way, you know?
Yeah, it is.
It reminded me of Avatar. But I was like, oh, it's Qui-Gon. It's Mace.
Yeah.
And Ahsoka.
We got to try and figure out who everybody who.
I was like patting your arm the whole time, like.
Yes, I know.
But yeah, no, I like that. I know it's a fan service, but that's fan service done right.
Yeah.
You know, when it's when you're doing it more to get the fans excited, as opposed to apologizing to the fans for something they didn't like. You know, for challenging their expectations.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so fan service, the whole aspect of it being Mary Sue, and we see her at the beginning.
Yes.
You know, you had a point to make.
Yeah, no, that was it. That was it. Exactly. It felt like that. Her kind of like kerfuffling of that training sequence was literally just to answer all the accusations of her being a Mary Sue. Yeah. Like, oh look, she makes mistakes as well.
She's just like you and me.
And I will earn your brother's lightsaber. Now. In any other context, no, when she says to Leia, you know, I will earn your brother's lightsaber. In any other context, that would be a good kind of story beat to have, you know, this kind of self-doubt thing. But in the context of answering these sort of Mary Sue accusations, it feels, I don't know, it feels insincere.
Yeah. They're not really showing her worth.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, exactly. They're not showing her kind of like that, her strengths versus her flaws. Yeah. And it undermines her worth. Yeah. As, you know, this character who from the get-set was...
literally had to fend for herself.
Yeah, and the first time we see her in any kind of conflict in The Force Awakens, you know, you see Finn, he's about to run in and rescue her, and she just kicks ass, and he's like, okay, never mind. And it's because we have a moment like that she's suddenly accused of being a Mary Sue, when that scene existed to show that she's a survivor, and she's strong, you know.
And she can make her own way in life. She doesn't, you know, that whole scene is all about her being able to make her own way. Fine, she may need people in the future,
for other things, for her greater story.
But right now,
the core of who she is a capable character.
Yes. Do you feel like that's kind of been taken away from her now?
No, I think that hasn't been taken away from her. I just think in the context of answering those Mary Sue accusations, it takes something away from her. If we are able to, maybe on a later viewing or sometime down the line when people have stopped directing all their kind of at the Star Wars trilogy and Rey by extension, then I will be able to kind of recontextualize that scene and be like, this is a good character moment. Yeah.
I love that. I don't know, I can't remember if it is the opening sequence, but where they're jumping from planet to planet. Beautiful.
They just keep like, they keep just what's it's skimming or something like that.
Yeah, when they're they're light speeding through. Yes. But for me, that was amazing in showing all the worlds that we had.
It was just having fun.
Yeah, it was having fun, and we could see the past as well. We, all the planets that we had already visited from previous episodes. Yeah, it was just a nice way of doing that.
Yeah, I did like that. Was a fun moment in the film.
I mean, and there are lots of fun moments like that.
Yeah, that's it though. Abrams does like fun. He's good at doing fun in cinema. You know, even no matter how serious he's getting, there's always like this element of fun to his. It's one of the things I love about his Star Trek movie.
Star Trek.
His Star Trek film is a lot of fun. But the problem is a film like Star Wars can't be held together just by fun.
Yeah, there's more to it.
Yeah. And I feel like there were certain things that just kind of didn't feel Star Wars to me. It just felt like J.J. Abrams.
Right.
Like those like sand speeders that the stormtroopers are chasing them on.
Oh yeah.
Like these little big treadmill things.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
And they're cool.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like a Star Wars thing.
No.
It felt like a J.J. Abrams thing. It suddenly felt very out of place to me. Like the jetpack stormtroopers, that felt that works for me, because it just felt like somebody just kind of co-opted Boba Fett's jetpack. Like, wait, why don't we have those? You know, it's like finally someone in Stormtrooper Command was like, hang on, why? What? Yeah. There was too much J.J. Abrams, and it just. He brought a lot of good stuff to The Force Awakens. He kind of brought it back to that sort of practical filmmaking thing. There was so much more practical filmmaking in it than there were in the prequel trilogies, and that I appreciate.
Yes. Yeah.
But I do feel like he just kind of turned it into his own sandbox.
Yeah, but see, you look into that kind of aspect of writers and directors and which way they can take it and how much of an influence they have over a movie.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I go in for the story.
But do you not notice it? Do you know, like... For example...
I don't know. I haven't studied film enough to make that point. But it's definitely... I can see where you're going because I've seen enough of J.J. Abrams to understand
you kind of
what
married into the Star Wars thing.
Yeah,
right?
I did.
And we've watched them all together.
Yeah, many times.
You watched them with me, and then I watched them over and over again.
Yeah.
But I mean, just as comparing it to every other Star Wars movie that you've seen. I mean, every trilogy has like their own vibe, their own feel, their own look, their own texture. But they're still quintessentially Star Wars. There are still things, and I'm not just talking design aesthetic. I'm just talking about like just as far as like story beats and I don't know, whatever. Do you not feel that there was? Is there nothing about like this one that just felt like just oddly out of place?
Yes, because it didn't feel like an ending.
You feel
like
okay. What felt oddly out of place in your opinion? Did anything feel oddly out of place?
Not really. Okay, the one thing that...
Not even like the weird slug dude.
I forgot about him.
He's like in every shot.
You should get rid of him.
Yeah.
Get rid of him.
Just throw some salt on him. I'll take that as a no. If you have to think that. Fair enough.
No, I don't.
Fair enough. You can change the subject.
Yeah, please. All right, so we know that there are characters that are literally there for the hell of being there.
Yeah.
But we've got characters that...
Rose. Where the hell was Rose?
What happened to Rose?
You read somewhere... You did a bunch of research about this.
Yeah, I did. She was literally on screen for like 74 minutes.
74 minutes?
74 seconds.
Wow.
Something along those lines. Like her screen time was really, really short, and the most poignant part was her hugging Chewie. And if you think about it, her whole role was all on the base. You know, she was giving orders. She was trying.
Her role was basically just look at a screen the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time. And considering J.J. Abrams had previously said that she was an amazing actress and one of the best things for Star Wars.
What the fuck?
What happened?
What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck happened to Rose? Why wasn't she on screen more?
You did a bunch of research on this.
I did. Apparently, I mean, there's been a lot of cutting, like you know.
Yeah, films
get cut, and I understand that.
Yeah, scenes get cut.
Scenes get cut, and I understand that. But I would have loved, you know, apparently there was this whole scene between her and Rey and the femininity and how they kind of worked together.
Was there like basically a C plot with them and they just cut it out?
Yeah, and they literally cut it out. And I would have loved to have seen that. I would have loved to have seen their chemistry away from
I mean, we didn't
see
that they never shared a scene.
No, they didn't.
And that's just the other thing. This film, does it pass the Bechdel test?
Whoa! What are the questions?
Because there's I can't remember her name.
Well, they don't talk about boys.
Well, no, the only scene Rey shares with a girl is
Leia.
No, well, there is Leia. Okay, maybe I can't remember what they talk about, but there is also another scene where the girl from Poe's past, the one who never takes her helmet, Kerry Washington.
What's her name? Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember her name.
It's going to bug me. Because she had the best character... She had the best costume design.
Okay, yeah, she did.
When I saw the stills of that character, I was so excited to see that character.
Yeah, and then we see nothing of her.
And then also, she literally is there to give Poe a coin.
Yeah, and to flirt with him. You know, Poe's just trying to get into
I said
her
to you
pants.
very early in the film as well, like, I'm getting very, like, definite couples vibe off of Poe and Finn.
Yeah.
I just thought, you know, there's a bit where, are you going to tell Rey what you were going to say? Are you going to tell me about your past? They feel like that. They
old
feel like
married couple.
No, they don't feel like an old married couple. They feel like a couple who have been together for. Oh, they're at that point where.
Is it make or break time?
Yeah.
You know,
make or break time. When a couple hits make or break, they felt like that.
Yeah.
Because suddenly they're realizing that the other one has like a history. They you know, Finn came out of the First Order a blank slate.
Yeah.
Poe has history.
Yes, he's a spicer.
Yeah, he was an ex-spicer.
Whatever that is.
Well, it's a spice smuggler. Spice is...
I think it's from some form of drug I've read. He was literally a drug smuggler.
Yeah, but you know, Han Solo was a smuggler as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking up. I need to look up character, and IMDb is asking me all these questions about myself.
Why?
Hang on,
not that you would know why IMDb is asking you.
Zori Bliss.
There we go, Zori Bliss. That's her name.
But this is it. Zori Bliss. The character Zori Bliss suffers from that whole thing of like, because it's Kerry Russell, I think is.
Yeah.
Who's in a lot of J.J. Abrams stuff. He always tries to find, even like Mission Impossible 3, and he finds a good place for her Mission Impossible 3. But her character suffers from the problem of like J.J. Abrams just like putting in cameos
of his friends.
He managed to make it work in The Force Awakens. But now he's introducing like these seemingly integral characters, and they're just there to, you know, serve a function. Yeah. So the rest of the characters.
It gives you that little bit of intrigue. Like you want more from that character.
Yeah, but it's not like. It's not that I want more because it's a good character. It's I want more because you promise so much more for this character.
Yeah.
It's not that good. I want more. It's that cheated. I want more.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Because you see this when they're promoting the film, you see this amazing design for a character, and it's like, and you know, it's a particular actress, and they have this very cool name, and you think like, okay, we're gonna see some shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh hey, you and I have a past. I'm gonna rock the boat, and now I'm gonna give you this coin, and good luck.
Get on that ship and get that MacGuffin.
Yeah, and like the other character that Finn befriends. You know, the one who was...
the ex-stormtrooper.
Yeah, and he learns this whole new thing about like, oh wow.
Yeah.
You know, I may have been the first, but I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
There are a ton of stormtroopers who do not want to be a part of this. Oh well, on to kill a bunch of stormtroopers.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything about him at all.
This is what I'm talking about earlier. These revelations.
Yeah.
This J.J. Abrams. We need to check this off the list. Finds out about other stormtroopers and deserters and cool, checked off. Next scene, he's shooting a bunch of. But it just doesn't matter to J.J. Abrams as a writer. He just moves on. And he expects the characters and the audience to move on.
We've got to remember, I think there's a difference between him not caring about Star Wars and him not caring about writing. I think he cares about Star Wars. I just don't think his writing pulled off this film.
Well, it's...
You are so frustrated with this.
Yeah, because it's like...
Like you wanted so much more. I mean, I think everybody wanted so much more.
This is what I was saying about it's a bunch of very, very cool things. Very, very cool scenes. Very, very cool character moments.
Yeah.
Very, very cool fights. Very, very cool effects. Everything. It's very, very cool. Very, very cool dialogue.
Yeah.
But...
where's the payoff?
Yeah, it just feels like it was storyboarded before it was written. It feels like... if you know, you said that they took as much as they could from the previous drafts.
Yeah.
But
then they also retconned a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but it just.
And then JJ actually had a shorter period of time to produce this movie because of the deadline and everything else and what had been going on before. So.
I wanted to love this movie.
Yeah, I did.
I like this movie. And because it's Star Wars, I think in my initial assessment, I forgave it for a lot of things. But now that we're talking about it, actually discussing it, I just feel like J.J. Abrams, he's good at ideas. He's good at, like, concepts. He's good at drafts, you know? But when it comes to the sort of putting it all together in a way that it matters, I don't think he's very good at that.
I mean, it doesn't really, you know, if you look at Force Awakens and Last Jedi, they hit certain emotional beats, and this doesn't. It doesn't feel there are emotional points, and that's only
there were moments. I mean, we did cry a couple of times.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they are isolated.
Yeah.
They are. They kind of. It's almost like they exist in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And the only reason that emotional beat lands at that moment, but not as an overall, is because we're so invested with the characters and the world, but not this story.
Yes, completely. I'm with you right there. Sorry, itchy nose.
Just picking her nose everywhere.
What itchy nose? That is, piece of dust.
Yeah.
No.
So.
Okay, so...
what if Finn want to tell Rey?
I don't know. Did he love her? I don't think there's a romantic inkling there. I think.
Well, this is the thing as well. Okay, I don't know about you, but between the three of them, I got a sense that at any moment, any one of them could be making out with any other one. There was just like, it just felt like the chemistry between those three just felt like I'm just waiting. I don't know who's going to make out with whom, but I feel like it's coming at any minute. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next trilogy we find out they entered into some sort of polyamorous relationship.
You know? Was it that hug at the end?
I don't know, man. No, all the way through. Like, even when the way Poe and Rey argue at the beginning. Like, what did you do to BB-8? What did you do to the Falcon?
You broke this, huh? You know?
We argue like that.
You did this and I did that.
What did you do there? No, what did you do there? Yeah, it just... So, yeah.
So they're just having a threesome.
No, it felt like he was about to confess, like, I have... He said, it sounded like he said, I have.
I think he was going to confess that he has some force ability.
Well, when Rey, quote unquote, died...
Yeah. He felt it.
He felt it.
Yeah.
In the same way Leia felt it when Han died. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah.
But we say in the same way Leia felt it, but maybe the Force works in, you know, like, she's very strong with the Force.
Aren't they?
She's strong with the Force. So when she died, her connection to the Force died, and maybe he felt that presence leave. It wasn't that he's Force sensitive, it's that she's Force sensitive and connected to him. Maybe, possibly. Or he is Force sensitive. There's so many, you know, it's like... You go on the internet long enough, and there's a fan theory that almost every character in Star Wars is Force sensitive. Han is Force sensitive.
No, that was a memory.
R2 is Force sensitive, apparently.
Oh,
you know.
Can androids be Force sensitive?
I mean, if they can dream of electric sheep or electric banthas in that case.
Right. Okay. So the biggest complaint about this movie is the ending. So if we're talking about the ending,
which ending?
Yeah, how many endings were in that movie?
I mean, we were in Lord of the Rings territory there at one point. Were we though? I don't know.
All right.
What part of the ending does everybody complain about?
I haven't read enough to say it, but everything I've read.
Everyone's saying it's the worst ending ever.
But do you know what? You know when Kylo, Ben and Rey kiss?
Yeah, I was like,
no, please don't, please.
But then he died, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. That's no worries.
Yeah, because it was one of those situations that whole time when they were holding each other the whole time. In my own head, I was
we were both.
Please don't kiss.
No. We were there, sitting there, saying it under our breaths, like, please don't do it. Please don't. No, don't kiss. Don't kiss. Don't kiss. Which is funny because previously there's a bit with Poe and Finn, and we're going kiss. Kiss.
Just shows where it all lies with us, doesn't it?
Well, the thing is, Poe and Finn have a genuine affection for each other, and they've had it since the Force Awakens.
What's it? Commander?
No, it's General.
That's a general.
Yeah, he promotes him to General.
It's fantastic.
And those are the moments that work for me, those JJ moments, the dialogue.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he died, I was like, it made sense.
Yeah,
because he is the Vader in this story. Mm-hmm. It made sense, and I have no idea how he survived that fall.
No.
I have no idea how he managed to climb back up. I don't care. It made for for an epic ending.
Yeah.
I don't see an issue with the ending.
No, I don't either, to be honest, to be frank.
And I don't see an issue.
No.
Okay, we were talking in non-spoilers, where Kylo had to feel one way and another. What it was is Kylo had to be, he's there, he arrives on Endor. Or, in Endor. I don't know if that was actually, because it's the forest moon of Endor.
Of Endor, yeah.
The forest moon isn't Endor.
No, it isn't.
So I don't know if they were actually on Endor or not.
Oh, it was in that system.
Yeah, but where the Death Star is. And he arrives to kill her. He's there to, whatever. He's there with, hate and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they needed him to kind of flip. They needed him to switch over.
Yeah.
And it felt like they hadn't earned it. They didn't know how to
make that.
I mean, they've been earning it all the way through the previous films, but in this film, that I feel like they hadn't done enough to earn it, to work him to that point. By this point, his whole thing was wasn't that he was looking to switch sides.
No.
He was conflicted about that. It was that he didn't want a ruler. He wanted to be the ruler.
Yeah.
So that kind of...
And he says that.
That was that's the only conflict they'd established in him in this film up until that point. And then they needed him to switch sides, they just inserted Han Solo in.
I think that whole...
That was supposed to be Leia.
Yeah.
Alright, that was supposed to be Leia. But, obviously they didn't have...
No, they didn't have the footage to do that,
exactly.
so they bought... and it was a memory, not a...
Yeah, it wasn't a Force ghost, it was a memory. But they needed that moment, so they just insert Han Solo in there, and then suddenly he's switched sides.
Yeah.
And that was the only bit that just... That was the bit that kind of compounded the whole checklist thing.
Yeah.
JJ wanted to tell one story. The checklist was telling him he had to tell this story, so he was trying to tell his story by crossing things off the checklist. And it just didn't feel earned in this movie. Though it was awesome seeing him turn up in just his black vest to help Rey. That was awesome. Yes. But it didn't feel earned.
No. But earlier I was saying, in the non-spoiler talk, I was saying how it works for me because of the poetry. If you remember, in episode 4, the very first movie, you've got
episodes. It's 6 by that point. Darth Vader switches, but that's my point.
Yeah,
that's my point. There's the checklist. He needs to do the poetry thing. He needs to do the George Lucas poetry thing, but that's not the story he wanted to tell. But he had to work it off. He had to check it off the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, that's one of the reasons why this movie I don't hate this movie. Why I like this film. Why it works for me.
I get that. But what I'm saying is, it wasn't going in that direction.
No.
But it needed to do the George Lucas poetry thing. It works because that's what Star Wars does. You know, the Skywalker at the end of every trilogy switches sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Episode 3, Anakin becomes Darth Vader. In Episode 6, Darth Vader goes back to being Anakin, and in Episode 9, Kylo becomes Ben again. It works because that's what Star Wars does, but that's not what his character was doing.
No. One character I really did like, if we go back to when C-3PO has to have his memory wiped.
That little dude.
That little, I can't remember the character's name. Fantastic, brilliant character. I loved him. Out of all the kind of non-characters in this movie, he was my favourite.
The set dressing characters. No, he was very cool. I would say as well, like, this is like the first time C-3PO has had like an arc.
Yes.
He's not just been there in the background to be the comic relief. And
there was a reason for him to be there, yeah.
Yeah, and this trilogy has kept him and R2 separate for most of the story.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care of the new droid. I can't remember the name of the new droid.
The socially awkward one.
Yeah, the socially awkward one.
It was just more merchandising, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just more merchandising. I don't see the point
He
of
did
the
at one point serve a function. I can't remember what it was, but like at the end, he was suddenly useful for a minute, and then, but beyond that, he didn't really add anything. Yeah. He was just there to be, like, I don't know, an abused droid for some reason. You know, I don't know. Are we now exploring the plight of droids, oppressed droids? You know, are we gonna have like a gritty story of like droid oppression in the Star Wars universe? Is that where the Mandalorian's going? I wonder.
Oh, those poor droids. Yeah. Can we take them home? Maybe do like one of those adverts.
Yeah, we should have the NSPCA ones with what's that singer's name? In the eyes of an angel. Just these droids like.
Oh, you're so funny.
Sarah McLachlan. I love Sarah McLachlan doing droid welfare.
I had a point to say, and you completely made me forget what I wanted to actually say, and I hate you for that.
But yeah, that droid was pointless.
Oh yeah, that's it. That was it. General Hux.
I think them killing him off and replacing him with Richard E. Grant was more a reaction to how he was kind of defanged in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
From the get-go, he was, Poe calling him Hugs.
Yeah.
And then basically Kylo just makes him his bitch more and more throughout the film.
So he kind of lost that power.
Yeah, and he became... But they did it well, I think, where he's like, no, I don't give a shit about you lot. I just don't want him to win.
Yeah.
And, so it made sense that in the next scene he was killed, you know, because he served no purpose.
No real purpose in this film anyway. He wouldn't...
and his any authority or intimidation from him was severely undermined. So they needed to get rid of him and have a much more threatening character. Because you take away the Richard E. Grant character and that final battle, can you imagine Hux being threatening or commanding in that moment? Even if the story required him to be from an audience perspective, could you see him?
Weirdly enough, no. I mean, even when he was in the previous movies, I didn't see him as commanding. I just saw him as somebody that wanted something.
In the Force Awakens, he wasn't commanding, but he was something more dangerous than that. He was conniving, and conniving can be scary.
Yeah.
But and he was conniving in the Last Jedi, but by the end of it, especially that bit where he's on Crate and they're in Kylo's command ship.
Oh yeah,
and there's a bit where he basically force bitch slaps him.
Yeah. And I suppose at that point there was it.
It was over
him.
for Hux.
Yeah.
You could no longer take him seriously as a character.
Yeah.
And so, they handled that actually quite well. That's how I would have handled it as well.
Yeah.
And Richard E. Grant is always
Owen.
on point.
Yeah, he is.
He is
I love
always
him.
on point. Even in Logan.
Yes.
Even though he's unceremoniously dispatched mid bad guy speech, he still, he was still an effective...
I mean, he is one of our treasures. In
yeah, exactly.
We love Richard E. Grant.
Exactly. If you've never seen How to Get Ahead in Advertising...
Yes.
Fucking watch it, man. It is the weirdest movie I've ever seen. And that's saying something. He has a pimple on his shoulder that ends up gaining sentience. All I remember from it as well is there's a bit where he's trying to get it to shut up and tries to drown it with super glue. Anyways, yeah.
Okay, right. So we've spoken about everything else, right? Let me ask you, what is, in terms of the lore and everything else, and what about the usage of the Force? Because I find it quite sporadic.
My assumption with
especially between Kylo and Rey, the way their connection works.
That was kind of confusing, but at the same time,
confusing.
It was weird. It was like.
So why can't he feel her at this point, but can feel her at this point and not?
What I found most confusing about it is that he could never see where she was, and I know they brought that up in The Last Jedi, but they don't show how he sees things, so it was very confusing.
Right.
There are some points where, because of there's no visual representation of what he sees. You just see Rey where she is, and you just see him where he is. So you sometimes forget that he can't see where she is, and you're like, well, how the fuck do you not know where she is? And it's only at certain points, like there are clues. And they show the clues, like all the
Darth Vader's
the bit where you see all the stuff that's spilled where he is. Yes, and now it's surrounding her. Yeah. So when the Darth Vader thing was broken, that's why he could suddenly see it, because it was on the floor next to him. And they show that. Yeah. But beyond that, it's very confusing as to how that works.
I mean, they added the new with Rey, and I kind of appreciated it. Was the healing factor? I like
which is an established thing in the canon.
Yeah, I appreciated that.
The thing is, you remember with The Last Jedi, there were certain Force usages that made people go like, no, well, we've never seen, since when can you do this?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And Rian Johnson was forced to kind of produce like very deep cut references, like find like the Jedi lore book and things like that. But my understanding of the Force and the way it's used, it's limited by the Force user's imagination.
Yeah.
That's how I've always seen the Force. No two Force users use the Force in the same way. There are things that some Force users can do that other Force users had never even imagined doing. Yeah. So whenever someone crops up with a new usage of the Force, I've never kind of gone like, well, since when can Force users do that? I'm like, oh, cool, that Force user figured out how to do that. It's like waterbending. In every season of Avatar and Korra, you find out that there's a whole new way of bending water that other benders had never even considered. Yep. Why can't the Force be any different? It's malleable. The Force is in everything. It surrounds us. It binds us. Then why can't it be used in this way or that way?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Why does the usage have to be so binary? Yeah. And I was saying this to you last night. We, as an audience, we suffer too much from this whole kind of we've never seen, no one explained it to us syndrome. Yeah, it would make sense if there was like a scene earlier where somebody had said like blah 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 blah. If someone had just spelled it out to us, but without that, I just feel like it comes out of nowhere. And it's like, but do we really need our hands held that much?
We should, as viewers, being able to make intuitive leaps, especially if you know the lore and you know the history. And that point you're making right now just flows into how Palpatine is alive and where
the clone thing,
exactly. He was a clone.
The Empire. The Empire was built on clones.
Exactly. So why wouldn't he have cloned himself?
Yeah, and why wouldn't he have cloned Snoke.
No. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, why couldn't Snoke be a clone? But we were watching this thing the other night, and last night, and the guy was like, you know, they never showed it before.
Yeah, but
this came out of nowhere. And it's like, of course it came out of nowhere. It had nothing to do with the story up until this point. But now the story has gotten to the point where, yeah, it's a journey. Stories are journeys. Yeah. You're not going to see anything over the horizon until you get there.
Yes.
And now the story has gotten over that horizon, and now we see what is next. And it turns out Palpatine had all these was behind it.
Yeah, when I saw that, I didn't need or want an explanation. I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. When I saw the Snoke in a jar, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And it
makes sense
and
in
to
the
coin
lore
a term,
as well.
yeah, and then to coin your term, it makes sense for the story.
Yes,
in
it
terms
does.
of the story,
Yeah.
because
I don't think I've even said that once today.
yeah, because Rian Johnson in The Last Jedi, he established Snoke does not matter.
No, yeah,
That's why
they killed
Snoke
him off.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's why Snoke doesn't matter.
Yes.
He's just he was created in a jar to serve a function. He was essentially he's a
puppet on a string.
I mean, for all we know, you know, I was saying about how this Palpatine has always been attached to this umbilical thing on this planet, and the Palpatine we saw earlier was a clone. For all we know, this was just him in Snoke's body, the same way he was in the Senator's body.
Yes.
You know, channeling his. You know, for all we know, you know, Snoke was literally just a Palpatine puppet. Try saying that 5 times fast. A Palpa puppet. He was a Palpa puppet. But so it just didn't matter.
No.
Snoke, the whole Snoke thing did not matter to me.
No.
As far as just like Palpatine did not matter in the original trilogy. He was just the guy behind the dudes. You know, that's all he was.
Yeah.
We didn't have. When he was introduced, no one went like, "Whoa, we had no clue that was coming."
No, nobody did that. But why do we have to scrutinise movies like that now? Why can't we, as an audience, like I said earlier, take an intuitive leap, make our own theory up, make our own sense of it? Why does it have to be explained to us verbatim, like
exactly?
In every sense of the word?
And we've got
that film
people
has
in
so
the
much
audience
exposition in it anyway. You don't need any more.
I mean, I love in any story where I'm dropped in the middle of it.
Yeah, me too.
Shit's going down, and I'm like, okay, I need to. duck and cover and figure out what's going on. Even as the reader or the viewer, I have to duck and cover and figure out what's going on. I love that. Yeah. Right? But I've noticed like people just hate being dropped into stuff now. They're like, they could have at least had a scene where, and it's like, no,
why?
Just run with it. It doesn't break the game.
No.
If you are invested, if you've been paying attention, all the pieces slot into place.
Yeah.
The clone thing slots into place. The whole thing, from the first film, they've been using the term clone.
Yes.
The Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
You fought with my father in the Clone Wars from the first film.
Yeah.
Clone.
Yeah,
Clone has been the thing in the whole
movie.
And now we're dropping a Palpatine clone, and everyone's like, "What the hell, man?" Jeez. I don't know about you.
Go on.
But my biggest gripe with Star Wars movies these days isn't the movie itself, but the audience's reception to it. The nitpicking.
I think,
And I think I'm so focused on defending the shit that makes sense that it blinds me to the flaws in the actual story.
Yeah.
Like I'm so busy going, well, yeah, that the big plot hole just kind of passes me by, like in my peripheries. I'm like, what was that? Doesn't matter because I'm too busy defending
the
Clone Snoke.
Look, it's now the end of that whole Skywalker saga, or whatever. It's done now.
Yeah.
And now.
But is it?
It is it.
Rey's taken the Skywalker name, and
I was just about to say
and
that.
15 years and 10-15 years from now, we're gonna have a new trilogy, and look, here's Rey Skywalker.
And they're gonna dig up those two lightsabers and give them to another set of twins.
Yeah, or something. yeah, something dark side, something complete, you know?
Okay.
All right. I don't know, man.
No, me either. Look,
I don't know.
We said earlier, you know, that in terms of emotional beats, there isn't one, but we've got a couple of scenes where we cried.
Yeah, there's no emotional arc, but there are emotional moments.
Yes.
You know,
like Leia died.
I don't know, man. I think JJ, he should just write outlines.
Yeah, and
just
give
get
the writing
somebody
else to write
and
with.
not get somebody who wrote Justice League.
No.
So, you know, in fact, just don't hire anyone who's written for Zack Snyder. And you know, just get. I don't know. Just do a last draft before you actually start shooting. There are elements that worked really, really well.
Yeah, I mean the character.
But
do you know what? It's the characters we fell in love with.
yeah, exactly.
From the first, you know, regardless of anything else, I love Rey, I love Poe, and I love Finn, and they are this story. And yeah, look, there she is. We have her. Ooh. I don't know why I'm looking over there. I've got to look over there. But and this is their journey. This is their story. Sure.
Do you feel like it's been a good story? Look at where each of the characters started and look at where they ended.
Yeah, I think Poe deserves to be General taking over Leia.
Can I just say something? One bit that did get me, that just choked me up like nobody's business. Right at the end, where they're all hugging, and Finn is crying.
Yeah.
John Boyega's performance. I mean, John Boyega's an amazing actor, but that moment where he's crying, and that's the most believable. Yeah. That's the most believable reaction to the end of a war. Yeah. Crying. Everybody else is like, yay.
No, crying.
And he's like,
that's relief.
Yeah, that's relief. Exactly.
Do you know what? When he was crying at that moment, I myself couldn't figure out if I was crying because it was the end of the war or if I was crying because this was the end of this saga.
Oh, that's a good feeling to have.
I couldn't, like I kind of nudged you and said I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
And I couldn't.
I was like, what couldn't you figure out?
And
I was like, they won.
Emotionally, I couldn't figure out what I was more.
Yeah.
What that was for me.
Yeah.
And don't forget.
Do you think this is the end, though? I mean,
no.
What did they do to Palpatine? She turned him to dust with the Force. Yeah. Well, you know, she turned his own Force onto him. Is this the end?
No, because I mean, you have to remember the dark side has to rise.
Yeah, this is true. You can't just have the light on its own. But the thing is, think about all the Force sensitive people who have not had the kind of guidance of the Jedi. Yeah, that could rise to like a dark. You know, you think about all these people just working on just because the thing about the dark side is, you know, when we talk about like the balance of the Force, if you think about the dark side isn't inherently evil.
No.
It's just selfish, and people are selfish.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got all these kind of unattended Force users just out there in the galaxy, selfish people with no guidance, it's going to create a rise in the dark side.
Yeah, of course.
Even if you have no Sith, you're going to have the dark side.
Yeah.
And that would make for a very interesting story. Rather than Jedi v Sith, it's more just like just an imbalance now. It's like, you know.
Yeah, it's just bad people.
Yeah, or you know, it could bring a rise to this whole kind of like sort of grey area. You think about like not everyone is a shitbag or a saint.
No,
there is. This is my problem with the Jedi Sith thing. It puts morality in a binary. You know, you're either an absolute shitbag or you're a saint. Yeah. And some people are just flawed. Yeah. You know, they're good people, but they're deeply flawed. Why can't we have more Force users like that?
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. You know, I mean, you could have a story where you've got a good dad robbing a bank. For example, using the Force to rob a bank to save his wife.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's a good guy doing desperate people. He's a good guy doing a bad thing.
Just because you're desperate does not make you a bad person.
No, exactly.
And I think we need to kind of as sort of a storytelling thing, we need to move away from this. First of all, this dynasty thing, and this binary thing. Yeah. We need to sort of explore.
It's like everybody can be anything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can have your Jedi and you can have your Sith, but why can't we have Force users that are in between?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, isn't there... I mean,
or is
I know most of it's been rebuked now, but... I mean, there were Grey Jedi, and there are. I mean, there
that's no longer canon. It's more Star Wars legends kind of thing.
And then, I mean, I don't understand why that couldn't be. Could have been brought back. And if you're looking for balance,
I mean, look at like Rebels and Clone Wars. They do show a lot of this stuff. Why can't we ever bring it into the main canon?
Yeah, I agree. Right, have you got more to say?
I got more to answer about. I don't know. You just have to ask me questions, and I'm like, yeah. Let me just.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to interview you on the Star Wars.
I know, or bring up things. And I'm like, because I have nothing pertinent to say anymore. But
no,
yeah,
I think we've covered everything that we've got up there.
The pointless characters, JJ's forgetful writing style. Do you think okay? Quick question. Do you think you've seen Lost in Translation, right? Mm. Do you think the whole what was Finn gonna say to Rey thing is gonna be like in the same category as what did Bill Murray say to Scarlett Johansson at the end of Lost in Translation? We're gonna be theorizing it, and like the actor's gonna have to answer questions about it in interviews for years to come.
What were you going to say? It's gonna be one. Yeah. Yes.
Do you know what Finn was gonna say to you?
What is that? It's a trade secret. You see, it's a trade secret.
2053, and we're still answering this damn question. So anyways, I think that was a good first episode of 2020, I think.
It was, I think so too.
Yeah, I'm feeling quite drunk. That shot of Jack Daniels in the break just...
Yeah, I think you've had more of this though.
Yeah, you've barely touched yours, and
I can feel... I'm trying not to cough.
Okay, fair enough.
I won't drink it now though.
Yeah.
I'm going to bed drunk.
I'm going to... As soon as I stop recording, I'm going to be like, chug, 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 chug.
Hey, no. Alcohol is bad, kids. Don't drink and drive. Be responsible.
I'm not driving.
You are.
I'm driving a computer. I cannot... Burning it might crash. Anyways, right. On that note, I think we can call it a night. If you're new to the podcast, subscribe and review and recommend, because that's how we grow.
Yeah.
You can catch us on social media. I'm at Frenchy Walls. Dee never remembers her Twitter handle, so it's Amara_secrets.
Woo! That's me.
I think it's because it's so cumbersome that you never remember it. You can also catch us on Twitter at the French-Patels.
Yeah, we're on Instagram as well.
As the French-Patels. If you want to see us in actual visual form, you can. All our patrons get access to a full-length video of the podcast.
They do indeed.
Among a bunch of other stuff that we spent like 6 weeks trying to figure out.
I think we drafted. Yeah, it took us a while to figure that one out.
Yeah, we're gonna have to stay on top of that.
I know. Oh.
So
much work. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. It's worth it. Love you guys.
You can watch us on YouTube as well. We released like a short version of we released the non-spoiler section 2 days after the podcast release.
Yeah, we do indeed.
But I'm sure I've forgotten like every other link as well.
Yeah, so fine. We'll just put it in the doobly-doo or whatever it's called down
description.
below. The description.
Yeah. The thingamabop.
The thingamabop down below, you know.
The what's it. So yeah.
It's just cheesy.
What's our next one about? The Witcher.
Witcher or Bad Boys? One of the.
I think let's give Bad Boys a skip and let's do The Witcher.
Let's do The Witcher.
I'd much rather talk about it. I like Bad Boys. I like the first one. I think the second one's absolute dog shit, but I like the first one. But I'd much rather talk about The Witcher. Bayhem. Where shit gets real. At least once in every movie.
And everybody just shouts at each other.
Yeah, everyone is just a shouting idiots. So I think, let's go for Witcher.
All right, let's do Witcher.
Yeah, I like The Witcher.
Bit of Henry Cavill. Well, who doesn't like a bit of Henry Cavill, hey? That's just...
that's Henry Cavill's acting in The Witcher in a nutshell. Gotta do the eyes. So, until next time, it's goodbye from her.
And it's goodbye from him.